Afternoon, members. Welcome to the Standards Committee. Firstly, and before we start with the election of the chair, I'd just like to obviously confirm that due to Stephen Hayes' term of office coming to an end, we went through a process and appointed a new independent member, which is Kerry Ellis-Jones, who's present with us today. So I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Kerry. Oh, hi, Councillor Williams. Sorry, we started in haste, maybe. Sorry.
No, you didn't start in haste. I was pressing a link telling me the webinar was about to start, and I realised and that the meeting hadn't commenced. So I then concluded I was pressing the wrong link. I was one of two, and no, all good.
Perfect.
Apologies from me to you in lieu of a chair.
Thank you, Councillor William. So just sorry, I was just mentioning to welcome Kerry Ellis-Jones as our new independent member. After a successful appointment procedure. So first item on the agenda is the election of the chair. So over to you, really, members, to make your nominations. Thank you, Councillor Bev.
I see Jonathan's raised his hand as well, but I was, if I can, like to propose Claire.
Thank you, Councillor Bev. Jonathan?
And may I second that, please?
Councillor William?
And that was my intention too. So it sounds as though we've an outbreak of agreement. Thank you.
Thank you, members. Claire, we'll proceed to elect the chair with your nominations if you're happy.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much, members. Thank you. Shall I pick up?
Thank you, Claire. Yes, as new chair, I'm happy for you to proceed with the appointment of the vice chair. Thank you.
Okay, well, I hope I do a good a job as Stefan did anyway, but please bear with me. If we move on to the election of vice chair. Have any nominations for vice chair? Can I nominate someone? I'd like to nominate Nigel.
So I need a seconder, please. Councillor Bev?
Yep, happy to second that. Thank you.
And Councillor William?
I just wished again to echo that nomination and total confidence in that nomination. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor William. Well, there's our vice chair appointed. Thank you, Nigel.
Thank you. Congratulations, Nigel. Okay, we move on to the minutes of the previous meeting. I presume everybody's read them, so it's just to check through if there are any accuracies.
Sorry, Chair. Can I just check we haven't got any apologies? I think we may have one, given that I just raised about Councillor Ian. I'm assuming no, not at all. Is there any others, Steve? Is it just Councillor Ian, we think?
Just Councillor Ian, I believe.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, Chair.
Yeah, just moving on to the minutes from the last meeting held on the 13th of October. If there's any inaccuracies that anybody'd like to raise? Are we happy to agree them? Do we need a show of hands to agree the minutes?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Okay. Any declarations of interest from members? Steve, you haven't received anything?
No.
No. Okay. And then Debbie, on to your report then, please.
Thank you, Chair. My report is item 6 of the agenda. It's for decision information and discussion. I'll go through the report as per each heading, and then if anyone wants to intervene, please do so at each stage. There are no general standards issues to report at today's meeting. Turning to referrals of county councillors to the Ombudsman Wales, you'll see there's reference to 3 referrals, one that's currently under consideration. In the first column, there's another item that's been referred that's being investigated at present, so I don't have any updates on that one. And the last item that came in last year is no longer being investigated, so that'll be removed from the list that we provide to you members. Moving on to dispensations, none have been received from any county councillors for today's meeting. Moving on to the Ombudsman Wales, you'll all find that there's a link to the Ombudsman's findings, which are put in item D of my report. Please feel free to have a look at those and see what the Ombudsman's decision making has been in terms of their findings for complaints over the last period. If anyone's got any queries in relation to this, please do contact me. Happy to discuss, or if you want to raise any matters today, happy to have a discussion around those. Similarly, with the adjudication panel for Wales, I put the link in there so you can all see any recent decisions. They will all be available on their website, but there is an easy link for you all if you want to have a look through those. Item F on my report is the National Forum for Standards Committees. I understand, Chair, when you were Vice Chair, you attended the meeting on the 26th of January. Would you like to provide us with an update in relation to that, please?
Yes, yeah, happy to. Yeah, it was. I haven't been to a forum before, but it was really useful to attend it. It's very much an opportunity to share best practice between other local authorities. A new chair was elected, who was Julia Hughes, and she's chair of Flintshire Standards Committee. A number of issues were discussed. The first one was around remuneration for independent members, and it was fed back that no decisions would be made until after the Senedd elections on that. Lots of discussion about local resolution protocols and if town and parish councils were using them. The monitoring officer there did feedback that Welsh Government are considering a code of conduct to be mandatory for all town and parish councils, but the timescales were very unclear on that, so we'll wait to hear. Michelle Morris always attends from the Ombudsman, and that's really helpful, where she gave an update. She said that there is a real challenge to expect the clerks to lead the resolution process, and a high percentage of complaints came from clerks. She also recognised that principal councils will struggle to provide support. She added that they've taken on board the concerns about complaints taking too long, which I know is something that we've raised with the Ombudsman. But she did say that they have halved the number of cases that have taken over 18 months. So they're really addressing the challenge of complaints taking too long, which I felt was positive. And that there has been a change in process, and that members are now informed when a complaint is made against them. The final discussion was around the duty to promote and maintain standards amongst group leaders. And that was really interesting, in that we all use very similar processes. We all have meetings with group leaders, we all use templates, but we did agree to share those, Debbie, so I don't know if the monitoring officer will be in touch about that, so that'd be quite useful to see what others used as well. Some meetings with group leaders are held in public, which I thought was interesting. The next forum meeting will be on the 29th of June, and there are minutes that are circulated, so we can make sure that all members receive those as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. That's a really helpful update. Moving on, if members can just note the next meeting dates, there will be a group leaders meeting. The annual meeting will take place sometime in April, so we'll circulate dates for that shortly. And then the 17th of June will be the meeting thereafter of standards, and on the 14th of October there'll be another meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor William.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to just note how helpful and constructive the process of observation by your predecessor and on an occasion by yourself have been in the role of chairing full council in particular, and also to check whether it would, or to suggest it might be useful to sort of share and distill some of the learning and some of the points from those recent observations, particularly with, well, obviously I've still got a short period left to run in that role and would welcome any ongoing feedback, but I'm also aware of the pipeline of future chairs, or perhaps presiding officer, whatever, in the future time. There are the vice chair and the assistant vice chair. It might be useful to extend the circle a little bit in relation to that, in just so that we have a level of continuity and perhaps a little wider sharing. It's just a thought. Maybe it's something we could discuss offline or whatever. There's also at least one former chair who's in the form of Bev, a two-term chair, who may well also have some thoughts on that. But it just occurs to me that it's something not to be lost, and I'm also very grateful for the positive input that it's had in recent months. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. See Debbie's hand up next.
Sorry, Councillor William, I didn't want to burst your bubble, but I think we're moving on to that at item 8 of the agenda. So if you're happy, are you happy for us to consider that in more detail when we move forward?
Absolutely. Let's defer till the appropriate place on the agenda. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor William. Thank you.
Right. I think we move on now to the annual review of acceptance of gifts and hospitality.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry. This is a report regarding the annual review that has to be undertaken by the Standards Committee in terms of acceptance of gifts and hospitality by members. The appendix that's attached is for the period of the 6th of February 2025 to the 26th of January 2026. The committee's asked today, please, to consider a review of those acceptance of gifts and hospitality. There's some narrative in my report regarding section 18 of the Constitution and the guidelines that apply to members in terms of accepting any gifts and hospitality, and also the on what basis those declarations are to be made, which is under 2.2 of my report. I wonder if the committee can then consider Appendix 1. I hope you can all access the links. I know Steve circulated them all earlier, so hopefully everybody's had an opportunity by now. But Chair, over to you really in terms of review of those declarations. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Yeah, Jonathan, I see your hand is up.
Thank you, Chair. I have reviewed the declarations. I note that there are 2 acceptances of Green Man Festival tickets at £220 each. I've previously commented in relation to the Green Man Festival that this is a major cultural and economic institution in the calendar, and I view it as being important that members do have an opportunity to attend. So whilst the amount of the hospitality seems large, I think there is a public interest in relevant members attending the festival in order to update themselves and keep informed as to the effect of the festival on our communities. I commend the member who decided to decline and return a gift without going into the topic of what it was concerning. I think that demonstrates it's nice to see a decision that you know not all gifts and hospitalities are automatically accepted. Beyond that, I was happy with the declarations made.
Does anybody else have any comments they'd like to raise on those declarations? I was happy with the declarations made as well. Councillor Bev.
Thank you. Yeah, the only thing I'm very happy with the list that we have in front of us, and I think Jonathan's quite rightly justified the Green Man Festival. But I did just wonder, as a comment, perhaps for something to take away, is that there's only, was there 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 councillors that have declared gifts out of 63. That might be it. That might be perfectly it. But I just wonder if it. I haven't declared anything. I haven't been offered or received anything. So it may well be that is fine. But I just thought it may be good practice for members just to have a reminder email from the Standards Committee just to say, don't forget, make sure you fill them in. Perhaps that would be just as an aside, really. But as for the actual donation, gifts, hospitality, there, no issue at all.
Debbie.
Thank you. Councillor Bev, I don't know if I recall in the October meeting, I think that was suggested by the committee that we send a reminder around to all councillors. So I believe something may have been sent. I don't know, Steve may be able to confirm, but I think you're absolutely right. We can send a reminder maybe this month again or next month, so that we've done it every 6 months, if you think that would be appropriate. It's up to the committee if they think that would be something we should do, or earlier or sooner.
I think Carol, before she went, did send her an email, but as you say, no harm in sending another one.
I think it would be helpful to send another email. Nigel?
Yeah, I agree with Councillor Bev in terms of the length of the list, but I recall making a similar comment last year, and I think the list is longer than last year, so whatever prompting Carol made during the year has worked, but I like Councillor Bev, I do question how short the list is given the size of the authority and the number of members we've got. So I think we'll keep pressing on this.
Yes, it would be good to send a reminder out then, I think.
Thank you, Chair.
The next item is the feedback on observations of county council meetings. So that's myself. I filled in quite a detailed report there, and Nigel as well. So observed a meeting. I think it's. I won't go through the form that I've filled in. I think it's quite clear the different points that I observed, and I've set those out there for members to see. But overall, I thought the meeting I observed was very comprehensive. A number of topics were discussed, and I thought the session was chaired with real professionalism and clarity. And I had a really useful conversation after it with Councillor William as well, which I hope you found helpful.
Absolutely, thank you, Chair. It's very kind.
Jonathan.
I wanted, Chair, to refer to the recommendations that you'd set out on the bottom of page 17 of the agenda, which is addressing mobile phone usage, cameras, nameplates, voting method, and display materials or placards. I think that between members of the committee, a number of those issues have been raised more than once. And I would be just interested to hear from Debbie. I understand the route is that these recommendations go to, is it a governance committee? So I just welcome understanding where these observations have got to in terms of the council's governance.
I did discuss this earlier with Steve, and I wondered, because obviously we've got the Chair of Council present with us. I mean, it's fine for that feedback to be given to you, Chair, but obviously it'd be better, wouldn't it, if it was circulated to the council as a whole, rather than putting the obligation on you to raise these with council. So I'm just wondering, Steve, whether it needs to go to governance and audit or Dem services, so that we can then put a report to council.
I think the route is Democratic Services Committee.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I could happily prepare a report for the Democratic Services Committee if members agree today, so that can then go before council in that order, if everyone would be happy with that, with these observations, so that it's really clear because as you say, if you're making these observations and then they don't go any further, you know, it's a bit pointless. So I'm more than happy to do a report and extract from those all of your observations. They could be put before council if everyone thinks that would be acceptable.
I think that would be really helpful, because I think Nigel's observation as well, yours was similar to mine in terms of the cameras being on, wasn't it?
Overall, my observations were very similar to Claire, but there was one issue which I noticed, and I've gone back through the recording of the meeting, and that is when votes are taken, those members who are at home or online, quite often they're voting with their cameras turned off. So, I know we've raised this issue before, but quite a, and it was prevalent at the meeting on the 4th of December, where a vote was requested, but those members online who had their cameras off, kept their cameras turned off during the voting process. So there was no validation that there was anybody there, or it was indeed them that was voting.
So for votes at council, we use a system called Microsoft Forms. So we send out a link in the chat to the councillors, and they get a link specific to them to record their vote. We see the results coming in. We also see a spreadsheet of who's voted and at what time and how they voted. That's private to us. Admittedly, we couldn't say that, if it was Councillor Jones voted, or it's come from their email, if it was Councillor Jones pressed the button, but we have to take it and trust that it was them. I'm pretty happy with the way that we do run the votes. If there are any issues, if a member says they can't vote and they record an oral vote, we do double check on the spreadsheet that their vote hasn't gone through electronically, and in fact they're voting twice, so that is all checked.
Okay.
And sorry, I should go on to say that we do publish the results of the votes for council meetings.
Yeah, just to comment further, I was looking at it more or less from a public perception point of view, that how does this look to the man on the street who has bothered to look into the full council meeting when there's so many blank screens and doesn't understand that the business is being managed behind the scenes.
That's a good point. So a report to Democratic Services, Debbie, I think would be really, really helpful. Thank you. The next item is on the Standards Committee work programme, and I think this is just to note that these items have been put forward. I guess if anything's missed or if anybody would like to suggest something, then now is the opportunity to do so, I think. Would anybody like to suggest anything, or everyone happy with the work programme going forward? Lots of nods. Okay. I think that's everything on the agenda then. I think that's everything for this meeting then. Very efficient.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll stop the recording.
Thanks all. Bye-bye.